Right, what is going on, everyone? Let me check that everything's on. Welcome back to the channel in this week's video. Today, I'm first going to be talking you through my most recent shoulder workout, what I'm doing, a few things on sets, reps, execution, and some intensifiers that I'm using, and maybe also how I'm progressing some of my exercises, but not as in-depth as some of my previous talk through videos. What I'll do is I'll leave a shoulder workout in the description below where I talk through everything that I've been doing. The workout is the same, just there'll be some heavier weights where I've progressed from the previous workouts that I filmed and put on the channel. But as well, I'm going to talk you through what is inside of my gym bag. I know a lot of you probably think, oh, I don't care what he puts in his gym bag, but I've had some questions recently. What I take to the gym, what I use at the gym, what do you use to film, what do you wear knee sleeves or wraps, about are squat shoes worth it, that sort of thing. So I'll take you through all that stuff that is inside my gym bag when it comes to it. I'm going to save that for the back end of the video. I'm going to take you through the workout first. So without further ado, we're going to get onto that. Okay, so first got dumbbell press. I worked out, I did 5 sets. I did 20, 22 and a half, 25, 27 and a half. And then I did a big jump to the 35s where you'll see the top set here. I've taken progression from 30s, which was a natural progression from the previous sets of the pyramid, and then progressed out to 32 and a half. Now I'm on to 35s. Instead of getting to 37 and a half, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that 27 and a half last warm up, set 4 or 5, and I'm going to bring that up to 30 just to reduce the jump between the 2 final sets and take that as my next form of progression while getting used to using the 35s, getting more comfortable, slowing down the tempo, spend a bit more time paused. You'll see my execution is relatively good on this, especially for a first time touching a new weight, but you're never perfect. There's always something that you can change, always something you can do better, whether or not if 9 out of your 10 reps are perfect, you can get that 10th rep better. That is still a form of progression. Similarly, we've got my top set on the prime shoulder press here, 5 sets by 10. This was my top set, 100 kg. You see I'm using a dead stop technique. I talked through why I use that in the video that I mentioned in the intro. To cut a long story short, taking off momentum, more stimulus on the shoulders, and making sure that I'm getting better with my shoulders rather than the supporting muscles and the momentum that can be drawn from bouncing out of that hole in that length and range. I attribute most of my shoulder strength gains to this exercise. If you don't have a prime, do it on a Smith. Set the safety bars, safety stoppers at just below parallel, and you can do that with this. Obviously the prime has the resistance profiles, you can put it on different pegs. You see I did a little drop set here, just a single drop to finish off because this is my final pressing movement, so exhaust that final exercise. There's no point in doing drop set on the dumbbell presses because we have this other press afterwards and we don't want to take away from what we can do on this next exercise. So as this is the last pressing movement of the workout, that's why we incorporate a drop set, leave nothing on the set and get as much out of the pressing as we can before we move on to our next exercise, which is a lateral to front raise superset with lateral raises. So as you can see, I'm lateral raising up, I'm bringing the dumbbells in across my body and back down again in that fashion. I'm not arcing it and doing it all in one movement. I'm keeping it controlled, coming through the different planes of movement, doing 5 sets of 10, supersetted with 10 lateral raises as well. Obviously working up in the weight. I did 2 with 4 kilos, 2 with 5 kilos, and a top set with 6 kilos. I'm not going to cover it in too much detail because I've done plenty of other videos going through how you should train your shoulders, so they're linked in the description below. But the main themes is to minimize the amount of contribution from the traps, so pushing your shoulders down, palms into the ground, and keeping that in mind as you perform each rep. So you're providing as much stimulus for the medial head of the delt, your side delt, as possible, and having the other muscles contributing as minimal as possible. So minimizing the contribution of the traps, for example. And then to finish off, we've got some posing in some great downlighting, making someone as pale as me look in good shape. Okay, so we're moving on to rear delts now. Again, 5 sets, high volume delt workout. This is 5 sets by 15 reps this time, same pyramid style. Reaching that top set where you're not getting quite 15, then I've gone into a triple drop set, making sure to really stretch the rear delt in the length and range, not coming too far back in the shortened range so that the stimulus transfers from the rear delt to the upper back and the traps. This is not what we want. To minimize traps, you want to push your shoulders down and your traps down to relax them so they're not contributing too much to the movement. Obviously you can't neglect it entirely, but you can certainly minimize it. Similarly to the lateral raises as well, which I mentioned in that previous video. Like I said, I'm not going to rinse and repeat the same content. I just want to take you through my workout. Now we've got face pulls. I did this seated and I can feel this a lot more in my rear delts. I'm not using the leg drive and the momentum. I'm not feeling as unstable at the heavier weights. What I found is, yes, you do this exercise light, but it was too light. And then when I got to anything relatively near what my rear delt strength working at a working set with, that's a mouthful, I found that I was becoming unstable. I was being drawn in by the weight. I had to like plant my feet, use a little bit of leg drive to get out of the length and range, and it was just counterintuitive to what I wanted to do. To counter this, as you can see, I'm on the bench. I'm using the bench to planting my feet into the floor to get myself braced and tight, using the bench as kind of like a gauge that if I was coming too far away when I pulled back, then I was using more back than rear delts, or if I was coming too far forward, I was using more traps rather than lengthening the rear delt muscle. I have this in my exercise tips section of my coaching program. If you are interested in being coached by me, I'll leave my email down below, my Instagram as well. Contact me on either one of those and we can discuss your goals and whether you're a good fit for the program, whether I'm a good fit for you and your triple drop set on the last set. The face pull is definitely an aesthetically pleasing exercise to look at from the behind. You get to show off all your detail in your back. This movement under this lighting makes my side profile of my delts to my arms look great. My weakest body part looks good in this lighting, so we'll take this. Finishing off with some extra lateral raise volume on the machine. This allows for a more even distribution of tension throughout the strength curve of the movement, and also allows you to place your body in a way that it's comfortable to do the lateral raises as well. What I do for this is different to my other exercises. I just start at the lightest, I do 10 reps and I just keep doing 10 reps with minimal rest, probably suboptimal rest, but it's just a fatiguing exercise at the end of the workout, just building up 10 till I hit a weight where I can't get more than 10 reps. I fail between 8 and 12 reps, and then I drop set straight back down to the bottom. It's a high volume intensity technique that I found to be very beneficial to the development of my side delts, my medial head of my delt. It's definitely worth a try at the end of your workout. Do not do this in the middle of your workout, as it will take away from the following exercises. Almost a finisher. I don't really like to call things finishers. It's just an extra bit of accumulating volume towards the end of the workout. But yeah, as I'm posing and showing off my back, that is going to end this part of the video, and I'll catch you all for the bag reveal. Right, so we are back from the gym, and as promised, I'm going to take you through what's in my gym bag. So here it is. I'm not actually sitting on a small chair here. It's a regular sized chair. It's just aren't that big. First off, we've got the obvious. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to show you this because they are my tripod and my camera, and I'm filming this on my tripod and my camera. But here's a wash bag that I use as a camera bag. Secondly, we've got sleeves, knee sleeves, which I wear obviously for my leg days, as well as elbow sleeves, which I use for my pushing days, so chest day and shoulder day. This is actually going to be really helpful for me because I'm probably in need of clearing out this bag and readjusting everything. I've got my lifting belt. Obviously, these are all my support equipment. Knee sleeves for supporting the knees, elbow sleeves supporting the elbows, getting some warmth, keeping it tight, supporting the joints. Keeping on the theme of support, I've got wrist wraps, good for your pulling movements, as you don't want your grip to be the limiting factor in your lifts. Don't want to fail due to grip inadequacies rather than your muscle tiring and your muscle failing. We've got figure 8 wrist wraps as well. I use these on barbells. Obviously, you can't really use them on dumbbells, as you put your hands through them and then you grab inside, and the dumbbell isn't long enough to do that properly. So I use the regular wrist wraps for dumbbells and machines, and these for barbells. And I do actually have another pair of wrist wraps, some old wrist wraps in here, just in case the other ones do eventually break. I've got some spare so that it doesn't affect my session. I also have, which I have not used in a long time, knee wraps. These, like the knee sleeves, or they can be used on your elbows as well, are meant for support, protecting those joints, but they also have a bit of elasticity and a bit of spring. So when you're in that length and range in a bench press or in a squat, it's going to give that little bit of spring out the hole, helping that vulnerable position to reduce the risk of injury. It's very good for a peace of mind thing, but it does also allow you to go a lot heavier, which can brush the ego rather than develop the muscle, so I tend to stay clear of those unless I'm going to do a very low volume movement, which I don't do anymore, like a single or a triple or something, just for the safety and the peace of mind to get me through that. So moving on to some different types of equipment, I've got a resistance band. I reverse band my hack squat because I'm scared. No, I reverse band my hack squat as it takes a little bit off that length and range, similarly to the reps. It just helps in that length and range to give you that little bit of pull out of there in that vulnerable position. I barbell squat free, so I'm already doing a movement with no support and getting into that length and range all by myself and coming out. Hack squat, I'll reverse band, like I said, peace of mind in that length and range. People will say you only use it to ego lift and put extra weight on the bar, but I can only go off how I feel when I hack squat. When I hack squat free, even with like a plate or two on, the movement itself, especially on that Enquiries hack squat, is just not very comfortable on my knees. So I band it, I feel better, my legs are growing. Next I have clips. The thing I hate the most about the gym is those grippy clips, ones where you squeeze it and put them in. Those things were the bane of my life. So when lockdown happened, I got myself a pair of these, and I just take them with me and I clip on, easy, job done. I do not have to mess around or even have sight of those clips again, apart from when I trip over them because people leave them on the floor. I've got a sweat rag. This is just for when I'm working in with someone and I finish my set, I'll quickly give it a wipe. And then when I finish the set, if I am especially sweaty, I'll go and get some tissue, spray it with the spray and wipe it down. But just to save doing that after every set, it will become an inconvenience, get over it, a little bit of sweat. I'll just give this a quick wipe just so the person who's using it with me doesn't have to sit in my sweat. Especially when I do a movement like I do single arm rows on the prime, extreme prime row. Obviously people are meant to put their face and their chest on that pad, but I use it as an arm gauge, so my arm is resting on it. If it's sweaty, putting it where the face should be. Common courtesy, wipe that down. Smelling salts, give it a crack, give it a whiff, wait, oh my God, bad idea. Wake yourself up. This is especially good for your heavy lifts on your top sets, those extremely fatiguing movements, ones that are demanding on CNS, like the deadlift and the squat. I forgot to mention also, the band is very useful for things like pull-ups. And get into a weight and a stage now where I cannot do 4 sets of 15 reps of body weight pull-ups to the standard and tempo that I want to do them. Sorry, I just absolutely bashed out with the salts. So I will put the band on and exaggerate my eccentric, do a 3-second negative, spend some time in that lengthened, and then pull myself up and spend some time in that shortened, exaggerating the changes in direction. If you do want to know about that sort of stuff, link in the description to my back workout where I talk over all that stuff. We've got chalk. I know people like their bottled liquid chalk, but I have this climbing chalk. I don't know what the difference between that is, whether that's what they just told me to stick some extra money on top, but it was relatively cheap. I think I paid like a tenner for like 10 kilos worth during, I think it was, yeah, during lockdown as well, when you couldn't get anything either. I got this in just to train at home, and then when I went back to the gym, I've still got it 3 years later and I've still got loads, so it was obviously worth the investment. Again, another sweat rag. I don't have in here currently, but I also take a hand towel with me. What I do is, obviously I train about 20 minutes drive away from where I live, and I do cardio after every workout, so I've built up a sweat anyway training. Then I'm getting on the cardio and really sweating one out. So the last thing I want to do is sit in my sweat for that 20-minute drive home. You've got to look after your skin. Don't want to be all spotty. So what I do is I'll go into the change rooms afterwards, I'll wash my hands, then I'll wash over my face, my shoulders, all those areas that are susceptible to getting spotty, around the back of my traps and down my front and back. Then I'll get a hand towel and just dry myself off. It's obviously not a proper effective wash, but it's just get that surface sweat off and then have a shower when I'm home. Get yourself washed. I don't have time to shower in the gym. Just get yourself washed and get back. Lastly, this is the last thing in my gym bag, wrist wraps. I don't use them very often, but sometimes when fatigue sets in, when you're making new progressions, it can start to hurt your wrists and your joints. I train very high volume, so like I said, joint problems haven't been an issue for me since switching to a higher volume style of training. So these have become pretty redundant, but it's always good to have them in there. I do want to give an honourable mention to shoes. What I do, I usually train in Jordans. I don't like to drive in them, so I put them in there, but it's more specifically squat shoes. Obviously you're not going to drive in squat shoes because they're hard soled. You won't be able to feel where you're putting your toes on the gas and the brakes, more importantly, if you need to stop. So squat shoes, self-explanatory. I use them on leg day because they're heel elevated and help you to push through your heels and your midfoot rather than your toes. So you're activating more of your quad than your calves, which is not only good for the goals, but also good for preventing risk of injury. For the sake of the video, I've got 2 bottles here. I have my intra workout and my extra bottle of water in my bag with me at all times, as well as taking my pre-workout with me. What I do is as I said, 20-minute drive, I drink my pre-workout about halfway en route, so the last 10 minutes of the drive, just so I'm peaking as I get into the gym, get parked up, get in the gym, have a wee, and then straight into the session. And then my intra workout drink throughout the workout, and then my bottle of water for the cardio, drink about half. And then if I'm on my higher days, I'll have cereal, so I'll drive home and have that. But on my other days, I have a post-workout shake, so I'll bring that with me. Obviously, I'll drink about half of this during my cardio and then put the other half into the shaker for my post-workout shake. If you want to see what my pre, intra and post-workouts consist of, there will be a link in the description below of this video for my current supplement stack, everything that I'm taking at the moment to benefit my training, and some explanations to what each of those supplements do, so be sure to check that out. And in my side bag, I have got this Do Not Stink. I'm usually smell free in the gym, I like to think so anyway, but I shower before I train, so everything should be sweat free, you know. But just in case there's that there, or just in case I have to go out after. I don't usually, because I come home and eat. And then just got some coins in here, an old gym membership, a screwdriver. This used to be when I had the lever belt, just to tighten and move if my waist changed, because obviously when I started my new program, I lost 20 kilos, and a lot of that came from the waist, so I use that to change that. And of course, what I did not mention, you can see it on my top right now, I keep the mics on me at all time, just in case I need to film something like that in the gym. But yeah, that is everything. Hope you enjoy my little walkthrough of what I have in my bag and my extreme out angling of this regular sized chair. If you did enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, click that notification bell so you don't miss an upload, leave a comment down below. What sort of stuff do you have in your gym bag? Is there anything in here that you don't have or you do have? And also leave a comment down below if there's anything you'd like to see from me in the future. Obviously, I cover a lot of training stuff, nutrition stuff, and my journey along the way. But if you want to see some more stuff like this, like I said in the intro, I don't really care to know what other people have in their gym bag, but people have asked me, so I did this part of the video. But that is it. I'll catch you all next week, and I'm out.